Welcome to Lost Without Japan, a travel podcast about the life-changing experiences of exploring Japan and those moments we would be lost without. For your listening pleasure, allow me to introduce your very own Kanko Guido, Michael.
Welcome to episode 17 of Lost Without Japan, a travel podcast about the life-changing experiences of exploring Japan and those moments we'd be lost without. This is your very own Kanko Guido for TKIC Studio Productions, coming to you with hopes and dreams of a return to travel for himself and others in summer 2022. We'd like to thank you for giving us a bit of your time today and truly hope this podcast finds you in a good place or on the path to a better one, no matter how it may seem at the moment. Our belief is that we all could use a beacon like this one in our lives to help guide us during these times, and my hope is that Japan, along with this podcast, will become that for you. If you're new to the podcast, welcome, and if you're a returning Lost Without listener, thank you so much for your time and for returning. And for today's show, we're going to talk to fellow listener David and kind of ask him about his trip to Japan and possibly get into a little bit about Takayama ourselves as well. We're just going to go with the flow for today's show. So just going to enjoy having someone else on with me, being that Tom is currently partaking in dad duties. So David's kind of saving me here for a second just from having to listen to myself. So, but we'll keep going and we'll start our show as we always do with some positive mental imagery. And we're going to imagine that today's the day. It is your trip for Japan. And as you arrive for your flight for today, remember the left lane is for loading and unloading only. And double check you have your luggage, passport, and your phone as you get out of the Lost Without Japan rideshare. Because you've made it. Today's the day that you're leaving for Japan. And as you walk through the doors of TKIC International Airport, go ahead, take a few deep breaths, and come along with your tour guides as we'll get you on your way for your first trip to Japan or like your return one, so you can make some more Lost Without moments. And as we go through the security checkpoint for today, you're going to notice another member of our TKIC Studios staff joining us today. Filling in for HR Director Tom is David, who's coming along with us for an intern position here for today's trip. So thanks for joining us on the show today, David. How's the internship going for you?
I would say it's going fine at the moment. But yeah, thank you for having me on the show, Michael.
It's a
pleasure to be here.
Mine as well, my friend. Mine as well. And I, for our show, the show prep and things, as always, you can reach out to the show at lostwithoutjapan@gmail.com or on our Instagram at lostwithoutjapan. And in the show notes, we'll have our normal, map locations and things like that going on. And hey, David, we kind of cover like our dreams come true savings account. And I know that you were talking about like trying to save for going back to Japan as well. Like, how's everything going for you?
I'd say things are on track. So, I'm just saving bits and pieces as I go. You have to budget, but also I have like a backup plan. So if that falls through, then I have that sorted. So, but everything's going smoothly. So.
My backup plan is going to be the lottery, my friend. And if I do, it's just going to be like, like listeners of the show, like you and Brianna and like a couple others that are like, reaching out. We'll just be like, hey guys, it's paid for. Let's just go hang out. Let's just go hang out. So,
nice.
Feel free, my friends that are listening, to take advantage of either your travel planners at this time as we go through and celebrate some successes for what we have. David, I've been back on trying to study my Japanese. I took a long hiatus from my studies. I was going through with another individual through a website. He moved. And his like a couple week gap became like a month and a half, and it was really easy for me to fall out of practice. So I'm trying to get back
Oh,
into like my hiragana cat to kind of get again and like, go on. So, it's
yeah. Like I know the struggle, so
it's real. Like it's one of those I want to go because like I'd love to like potentially move to Japan here, like potentially in 6 years or like at some point for sure. But it'd help if I could actually speak to some people, like
I
around.
definitely.
So
Um,
how about yourself?
yeah, I would say I'm going quite steady. I just use an app called Memorize.
Okay,
They got a Japanese course on that. I use Audible for like audio book classes too.
okay.
They just tell you how to pronounce the words, what the meaning. Um, I got like maybe about five of them. Just I don't know, just little bits and pieces here and there. So it would really help if someone who was a native speaker could help me with it. But that's I'll be looking into that. Most probably in a couple months' time, because I might be moving, so we'll see where I am at the time. So
Hope it goes well for you.
yeah,
Get all that you're looking for. I said, and I appreciate it. And for us and our show, we'll say that we made it to our correct gate so far, David. And we're gonna like we've made it through. We're gonna be boarding our plane here in a little bit. And my time is don't tell Tom that I splurge for us business class seats for you and I. Tom's just gonna be back in coach. Yeah, if he had flown with us, but he doesn't need to know now, so it's good.
that's it.
But no, one of the things I wanted to do just have you on and kind of talk to you about your interest in Japan. Like your trip that was there. I know that you went there for 3 weeks from like when we were talking to. But really, anything that you want to share, kind of like about yourselves, where you grew up, or like where you live, like anything in that regards. You're welcome to
Yep.
share about whatever you want, David.
Yeah. Okay. So my name is David. I'm from Canberra, Australia. And my let's say first, I've been into like Japanese things for a while. But the main one, Pokemon, it's definitely one of them. When I was a lot younger. Also, the things that, let's say, more as I got older, the interest was like Zen Buddhism.
Okay.
That was when I was listening to a book with Alan Watts, and he was talking about it. And then I was like, wow, and I it kind of opened my eyes up to more of the Japanese culture. I also know like Shinto is definitely one of the main, I wouldn't say religion, but that's one of the parts. That's something that I learnt when I was on the trip there.
Yeah.
That's that Shinto is more the native, like religion type of thing, and it's based around nature. So I found that amazing. So also the temples, the architecture of them. So just something I really, once I was kind of got into that, interest, I was like, I must see these in person. So also the JDM, like the car scene, is very interesting, unique car culture, and it's big around the world. So, but yeah, it's definitely that's a big part. Because I'm an automotive spray painter by trade, so it fits in. So cars, yeah, the JDM scene's definitely pretty cool. And also just the snacks and the unusual foods they have there. And that's just to really boil it down into something small,
Yeah.
like just a description. So yeah, and that's my pretty much interests in Japan.
No,
and
that's
everything.
cool
So
though. Like with the like be able to do some like paintings. It's like art in its own way, shape, and form. Kind of with that too. And I'd agree with you. Like there's a lot of things that pulled you in. And I remember when we were talking at one point too. I think like when show was like early on, and we kind of like were sharing like those little things that led us to like even like finding out about Japan, or like those different
Hmm.
things that had up. And I know for you, like you shared the one thing that you found from the the flea
Yes.
market, right? Like the
Yep.
and I thought that was like, how cool is that to like discover, like be walking along, and like I'm a big believer, like things happen for a reason, like even if we're not aware of it. But
Definitely.
like just to be stumbling across and then find out about a whole country because of like what you found.
Yeah, like everyone knows what Japan is, like, with the country and everything, but finding those stamps, that there were like a kind of, I don't know, it was such a small, I wouldn't say a small moment, but I was at a coastal town 2 hours away from Canberra, and there's these markets, and then yeah, came across this seller who was selling just various Japanese things, and they had a big wooden stamp collection, and they looked vintage. So I saw these two, and I was like, wow, I must have them.
Yeah,
I paid a good price for them. So, and ever since then, I still have them now. They're on the shelf in front of me. So,
that's
it's definitely it was a good gateway to, um, yeah, just a small gateway to their culture. So, or something to do. So
That's like my daddy,
it
like
was.
he traveled, so like he worked for Bridgestone at the time, so he'd bring back
Mhm.
things, like he brought back like early Transformers for me, like early like Godzilla
Yep.
stuff, and just things like he'd bring back pictures of what he did and stories and stuff, and it's just like, um, like how much of an impact they can have when it's not something that's here. And like I know you said you were there for like 3 weeks, and Takayama was like a small, like you said, like a super small part of it. But what
Yeah, 3 days.
yeah, like what did you do for the time you were in Japan besides just have a blast for 3 weeks?
Um, uh, well, we mainly stayed in Tokyo. Was I guess you have to do all the main
Yeah.
things first, like um, just yeah, we stayed at Tokyo for maybe 4 days, 4 or 5 days at the beginning, um, and then just yeah, there was a lot. Yeah, we packed a lot of things in, like, as you can. I mean, it's Tokyo. You can go to all the, like, the little uh, cafes they have there, just to do with. We went to the Hedgehog Cafe.
Okay.
That was really nice. And let's call it a cafe, but really they're just to pat or hold and play with hedgehogs. Um, just even there was like a Shiba Inu
Yeah.
one we went to. I think that was actually no, that was Tokyo.
My son's like,
Um,
if they still have that, like he's like, we're doing that, Dad. I was like, like she be like he's like, if we get to pet dogs, that's on there. He's like,
yeah.
it's it. And then my sister had a hedgehog at one point in time, and she was thinking the same thing. Like she landed in Tokyo, but it was en route elsewhere, so she didn't get to
Okay.
actually like explore Japan and stuff like that. But she's like, definitely the cafes and things like that are all stuff that you have to hit.
Well,
You have to hit if you go there.
yeah, you have to definitely. There's like even just like the vending
Yeah.
machines, like even like the small toy ones that make fantastic souvenirs. You turn a corner and you don't know what's going to be there. So it's always a mystery. So, and it's quite exciting. So,
Now,
um, yeah.
like I said, like I had my one glass that I made, and just different things that I have that are just like part of my everyday, like, or stuff that I can look at, or feel like
Mhm.
I'm close to and stuff. And then I don't know, like you did Tokyo, did you? And you made it out to like assuming like you went out to Kyoto or things as well, or
Yeah. So pretty much, I went to. Let me think. Yeah. So I went to Kyoto, Nara. Nara is the sister city to Canberra, where I live.
that's all.
So that was a must. I was like, I need to see this. Osaka, also Hiroshima too.
Okay.
So a lot of the pretty much central island, and Takayama too was definitely one of the like when with Takayama it was a short stay but very impactful because if you want to get into that I can definitely tell you a lot about that.
Cool. And then like for Hiroshima, was it like the going to like the Peace Museum, or was it just different areas around there? What did you guys end up doing for Hiroshima?
Mainly we went there for the Peace Museum. Like at first I was kind of like, because my partner, she's the one who pretty much organized the trip for us. Because when we went to the first part of the Europe, but not relevant. I was like, can we go to Japan too? And she's like, yes,
That's awesome.
we can do that. Because the first part in Europe was just maybe 10 days all up, but 3 weeks in Japan. So Japan definitely was where the highlight of the holiday, easy. But yeah, when we were organising it, I was just like, can we do Japan while we're there, because it was one of my first holidays in 10 years.
Wow.
Outside of Australia. So I was like, I want to if we're doing that, I want to definitely go here. And yeah, she agreed, and she pretty much organised, because we had a friend who was at a flight agency, so we had a lot of help from her too. So I think she was like, "What do you want to do?" And I'm like, "I don't know. There's a lot of things you can do," and I was like, let's just do the main tourist attractions. So for the second trip, I have a lot of other little plans now that I know what to not expect, but I've got all the big things out of the way.
Yes.
Let's see the real exciting different things. So
that's like when I'm going back with my son. Like I really hope that they open it up, that we're able to do it this summer. I'm still holding out hope because like they did increase the amount of like people that are coming in, and then they're taking more like students, and they're doing it without quarantine. If you have 3 shots and you test that you don't have it, like there's all of these things that are positive stuff. And I feel like Japan is the country that's like, they could just tell us tomorrow, David, that they're open, and that's about as much notice as we're going to get, potentially. So if we go, like I know with him, I'm going to be doing kind of like what you did, where it's like I'll be back in Tokyo, Osaka with him, Kyoto with him, and then Hiroshima to meet with my friends, that are at the good time, so they can end up meeting him. But then we have some off places because he wants to see like different baseball stadiums. So he'd like to see our new player for the Cubs, Suzuki, that came over from. He wants to see them play. He'd like to go see the Hanshin Tigers, because that's who we watch just on our free time, like through the stream and stuff that I've got. And then he's got a couple other ones, like where Otani played. Like he wants to do like lots of Tokyo and a bunch of baseball places. So it's gonna be great.
Oh, nice. Look, you can't get wrong. Like just even being in Japan itself is more than enough for myself. So I don't have to have anything planned. I can pretty much come up with anything on the spot.
Yeah.
But look, like overall planning for the trip would be the best. But like I said,
that's like what you're talking about. Like for me, it's like after I go with my son, that following time that I go is going to be one where it's going to be more of that, just kind of exploring and see what happens. I just know that it's probably going to be, besides Hiroshima, like it probably not going to involve Osaka, Kyoto, and if it's Tokyo, it's going to be short. Like I want to see the other things that I haven't seen for my time. So for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
And then like for Takayama, I mean, like that's a bit off the beaten path. Like even for someone like on their first visit to Japan, like was there anything that happened that like led you to visit that city, or was it just like something you discovered before?
No, I think let me think. How did we come up with it? I think I said I would like to go somewhere like 'cause we knew that like the itinerary of the trip was Tokyo, just yeah, like some of the main places. And I was like, well, let's experience something that's I wouldn't say yeah, like in the
Yeah,
country.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and yeah, we came up with that conclusion. So
That's cool though. Like just to head off. Like one of my favorite times was just like where I went for like that hour and a half away from Tokyo and went out to like the mountains and ended up making my blown glass. And that was like a city that like it was funny because I'd bump into people and they're like, "What are you doing here?" And I'm
Mhm.
like, "Oh, I'm here, to make some glass or whatever." They're like, no, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm visiting." They're like, "No, what are you doing here? Are there more of you?" They're like, they were concerned that like it's gonna become like a super popular place for like tourists or stuff. And I'm like, no. They're
Yeah,
like, no, 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 just me,
no, just me.
just me. They're like, oh, okay, you can sit with us. Like, we'll talk to you. you know.
Yeah.
Did you have anything like as far as like I know like your place that you stayed at, like
Was
like the hotel,
yeah. So I think it was I think it's pronounced Ho Sho Kaku Kawazana. I think Kawazana.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
But that was a amazing place. Um, it had the yeah. So where did it start? Sorry, there's so many like things to say about the place. Like let's say it was a 3-star hotel, but to be honest, it felt like it was more. Definitely, I think it was definitely underrated because the rooms were beautiful. Oh yeah, I have to fill in a couple parts of that. So one of the reasons why we went there too, because it's like an onsen, like a spa hotel, and we're just like, wow, okay, let's like, experience a bit of that. Um, and so when we got there, we spoke to the guy at the reception, and we just like he told us a bit about the place, and like myself, I do have some tattoos, and I'm just a little bit conscious of it. I was like, are they going to not accept? Because it's part of the culture that they don't like. It's changing now, but yeah, they're kind of like don't like to see tattoos. And he was just like, yeah, you can still go down to the actual spas. It should be fine. And he's like, if anyone complains, it should be yeah, don't worry about it.
it's like,
But I kind of felt a bit bad. So I was like, he's like, oh, but I can upgrade your room to a private spa if that's what you like. And yeah, we went that option. So very accommodative. So he looked after us, because I did feel a bit bad, because yeah, like with tattoos and they're not accepted as much. So
and
um,
like I could see too, like you don't want to cause any more havoc for someone else, but like having your own
no,
private is not a bad way to go by Friday. That's still something I haven't done, but I would love to do at some point in time. That just sounds like amazing. It sounds amazing.
yeah, it was fantastic. Like definitely it was nice to have just the way they had it set up because they had the spa on the balcony. So I'm looking down because where the hotel is located, it's more on the outskirts of Takayama. So right next to it, there's a big park that has like trails
Okay.
that you can walk. Um, it's a shame that I didn't really get to explore much of that because they had a black bear warning,
Okay.
so that park was closed off. So I was pretty curious. I was like, wow, like black bears. Um, like then like it sounds like it's not really a problem there. They're used to it, and I didn't see one when I was there, so I wouldn't be worried.
It's like
But it kind of made a bit of excitement,
it's it's like if you talk about a country that has things in it, like like Australia, like, at least what I heard, like if you have like you're like bear, nothing, guys, don't worry about it, I'm good.
Yeah. Oh, like I don't know with the whole the dangerous animals in Australia. It's really I don't think it's as bad as it sounds.
Yeah,
So
It's usually the case, like, but that's so cool that you had like your own place. And then did you end up eating at the resort as well, or is it like other places around there, or like what did the your experience come with there?
yeah, so we had the traditional breakfast, um, and that was pretty cool to experience. They sit you down in like a little curtained like private area, and then they bring your breakfast in. That was pretty good. But the only tricky thing at the time was, one, I'm not a massive seafood
Me
eater,
neither, my friend.
so I'm very selective. So yeah, there was a bit of like fish and on the plate. I was like, so like I still got into it. And also too, my partner at the time, she was a vegan, so um, yeah, like it was fine. Like it was good to experience it. I'm sure most people will like have a really good experience out of it. Um, but yeah, so even places around that, the ones that come to memory that really made like an impact, that I remember a lot was this. Um, there was like a this burger joint called Evil Tex. It's not your traditional uh, Japanese food, but they did a really good job of it. So and the owner there, she spoke a fair bit of English, so she even had the time to talk to us. So
That's huge. Like
and
finding.
kind of give us some good places to go. So but yeah, Takayama, like there was even another. It's been like 3 years now, so the memory's kind of blurry. But I remember there being a whole heap of like restaurants there. So if you like food, it's definitely a place to go. Um, and one other place too that was memorable place was this cafe called Kiss Kiss.
Okay.
um, that was, I think, one of the reasons why we went there is because they had an English menu. So but great coffee. So I remember you talking about coffee on one of the podcasts. So
Yeah, like it's one of those, like I was like I fell in love with that, like for like when I was time there. And then it was like one of those things that just led to me buying a bunch of stuff that I like basically only use after I come back from Japan. But like, yeah, like I fell in love with this, trying to find like new places, like to eat and stuff like that, or like to find a coffee, when we're there. So it was all good.
Mhm.
But like even running into somebody, that's cool. Just like having somebody to where you're like, you run into somebody that has some English that can help you out. I'm like, that's not bad, my friend. That's pretty good.
Oh, definitely. It really does help, you know. So because yeah, like especially like my partner being vegan at the time, she was, yeah, like even just trying to read the menu, we're just trying to look at everything, and it did kind of limit a lot of options. Um, but food's only one part of the experience. So, and it's a big part. Like, don't get me wrong, I would like to um, dive into that more next time I'm there. So,
It's like what I said, like in mine when we were in traveling, and I was with all my friends. Like that last trip, it was cool just to like celebrate somebody's birthday just out of nowhere, and then like she was recommending different coffee, and then it became, as the night went on, like coffee and alcohol, and then it was just like this whole thing out of all that. It's great. Like that's great though that you got that they had that experience and stuff. And then I know when we were talking before we started recording, that you had like what could have ended up being like a very electric experience for your trip to Japan. Like what ended up happening with you, where you said that you were almost hit by lightning while you're there? That's just
yes. um, this is a pretty good story. Like, it's short but good. Um, now the name, like, so we were in Kyoto, and you know how you got the like the thousand Shinto gates.
Yeah.
I the name always escapes me, and I almost probably do a horrible pronunciation. But yeah, so we were there, and when we arrived to the place, it started to rain. So I would say quite heavily. So a lot of the tourists or the people cleared out of there. So there was one or two people who still proceeded to climb the steps or even just go on the trails. So it was kind of like really nice to kind of see it not crowded. So we were just walking around, and we got to one of the side shrines, and this big flash of like white, you just see white and just this loud crack of just like an explosion. And I'm not sure how many feet it would have been, how many feet it was away, but it would be, let's just go with meters.
Yeah, that's fine. I know we were talking about that earlier too.
So it would have been maybe 50 or 60 meters away.
Okay.
Maybe, it's hard to say exactly, but yeah, it was very close by. And so next minute, I just found myself on the ground. I was like, wow, like what just happened,
Yes.
you know? And so the couple of people because it struck the building on the bottom of the stairs, so there would have been like maybe like 150 stairs between us and that building. And they were like, wow, like it just struck like this building, and, you know, we had a bit of a conversation on that. And then we just continued exploring. Like maybe it was a bit of a silly idea because you do go on a mountain, and and it was raining. It didn't seem to be signs of thunder at the time, but when we were like halfway up,
That's
but it definitely a good story to tell people. So
yeah, that'd be one of those like it's memorable to begin with. That's like that whole the walk. My friends, like after I dragged them through it, they were less than three. Like they love the view. They're there, but they're like that's quite a walk, and it does get quite crowded. So I could see like wanting to like continue on, like just to have that,
definitely.
Yeah, but I'm glad it was the almost, and still like it sounds like too close just to begin with, like anything it's there. And then what was the burger place that you said that you for like not to jump back and forth in there, but for Takayama, what was the name of the burger place that you went to?
It was called Evil Tex.
I found it. I'm gonna put that in our show notes.
Please do.
For Takayama, that is added right now, my friend, and it's got. I'm looking through the pictures. I get like 420 reviews. That's pretty like impressive, like for the time. And I'm looking through. Man, that looks great. All the different foods and stuff that's there. I that has been added, so that's awesome. That is awesome. I will put that in as well. So
yeah, no, it's like I said, it feels like I need to say something that was more traditional food, but it was a place that we sat down we were there for like a good 2 hours.
Yeah, we
just talking.
We did like I always said, one of my favorite things is like, unfortunately it closed, was in Kyoto, was an Italian restaurant, and we have some places picked for our next trip, like taco places and Indian places. We're just like picking things because it's like, I don't care what you have. If you have the one type of food for like a long time, for 3 weeks, especially when you're going to be in a location for 3 weeks, it's going to get old. So like kind of having different stuff to choose from makes a difference. Like it really does. And then I saw like your stay for like your hot spring in Onsen is I have that bookmarked as well. And I also put in so there's actual temple hotel in Takayama called like Zenkoji, and so Takayama Station will like get you there, but you're probably gonna I have to do a bus or some sort of cab or like something, because it was a bit of a walk to get there, but like the prices seem to vary depending on like the date or site, and it really ranged. Like I've just been putting like the middle of June because that's when I'm going with my son, but between like what site you used, it ranged from like $82 to $150 a night, which is a pretty significant difference. But they had like it's been renovated, so they had like toilets you would expect, like wash basins, like towels, and they had a bunch of reviews. And the only thing was, and it's one of the things that's like I'm always going to be there during the summer right now. They don't have AC, and to be in Japan during the summer, like we were around the same time, and I can't imagine like staying like camping's one thing, you know, but like to pay to be somewhere and like not have AC, I don't know how I'd hold up for that.
Yeah, and I think within the same time we were there, there was like a heat wave.
Yes.
By memory.
Yes.
For like 5 days.
And and it was all my friends. I had told them, I said, bamboo fiber is the way to go. Like, you know, for your clothes and things. They're like, thank you, Mike. Like, you know, for this there. And,
yeah. I think that's what I'm going to be taking next.
Like, and then the one place that I was at, they had like it was like shared bathrooms, which is not like a big deal. But the cool thing was you could actually, the bath you reserved. So it became like a private bath for you. And they had like duvets and covers and things like if it's colder. And they did have some like area for outlets as well as like a Wi-Fi in one area. Some of the monks that are still on there like do end up speaking like English, and they had like the possible experience of like yoga, sutra copying, some other activities you can have. So it didn't seem like it was necessarily like a full-on temple, like fully active temple, but more kind of like the experience with some other things going on. And then one other coffee place that's there, because I know you mentioned one too, is there's a place called Nanton, and they have coffee and breakfast. And like I was most excited, like you said, Japanese breakfast, and man, like you to each their own. And it's like one of those things I recommend, like you do. Like you did, like go ahead and do it once. But like the cool thing is that the owner for this place, much like the one you were talking about, they do have very limited English, but their menus actually have pictures in English and Japanese, and they have Western style breakfast. So I was like, how cool is that? Like to be all the way around the other side of the world. And then you could have cinnamon toast, like French toast, cinnamon toast. Like I'm totally one of my mornings, like in Takayama, if it's not eating at the hotel, is going to be having like, you know, French toast for something, you know, for that time, and then some coffee and stuff. So
definitely a mix. It's always, you know, always good. So, and that's a big thing. Like with that I've noticed when I was in Japan, like they made an effort. It's, you know, like to let's say like you mentioned with the taxis, it's like we mainly used Uber, the main, like the when you could use it, like in Kyoto or Tokyo, you can use them. It's a little bit, they had the service there, because you just type the address in, they know it. You don't really have to talk. You know, you can wave.
That's huge. That's huge.
That makes a really big difference. But even if you do have to catch a taxi, you know, you show them the address. You know, it's easily, yeah, both parties work it out easy. So just by use of Google Translate and Google Maps, so it's not even an issue.
I'm glad to hear that, because I definitely want to go, and I had like one bad experience with that where it's like I couldn't make it around, you know, like I ended up having to walk from the mall I was at to where I was staying, and it was like that's like you're getting hit by lightning, was being lost in the middle of like rice fields and not knowing where I was. Like my battery was dying. I'm like never to be seen. Like
that's right.
Never to be seen again. You know. So
yeah, there you go. So that's one of the, you know, like I reckon every time someone goes, you know, on a holiday, like Japan always will come back with a good story.
Oh, no doubt. and then one other thing, I don't know if like you'd visited there or you saw it like when you were there, but Sanmachi Suji, and it's like so I know like they're kind of like these type of towns are like spread throughout Japan, but it's like you're able to see like what town looked like in the Edo area.
Is the the Edo area markets, actually merchant stores.
Yes.
It's so the hotel that I stayed at was pretty much 2 minute walk from there.
It's even better because I heard like one of the things they said with that area is it's hard to like book unless you do kind of like in advance to get like super close that's there. But like I was looking through and there's like the shops, cafes, sake breweries, tea houses, rickshaw rides.
They have
like
everything.
That's great. Like that's one thing I know it sounds like totally touristy. But like there's some YouTube people that I follow that do like different times in Japan, and like doing a rickshaw ride doesn't sound horrible. Like it's
No, not at all.
Like it.
When I was there, what really I kind of admired the most was the Japanese ceramics.
That's
so
just Kyoto, man. Like that whole like street that you're on, where it's like they have all that pottery and like ceramic, like and everything that's there, like was just something I wish I would have bought. Like that's one thing. Like if you if you come across something, my recommendation is just to buy it and like not because it was like one of the like a small little cup was $150. And that's a lot of money, my friend. Like,
definitely.
But it was like now, like after I was gone and going through, I'm like, I really should have done that. That's one more thing that I could have just in a case to look at and hold and feel like I was close. So,
nice. There was one instance when I was in Japan. I bought this really lovely ceramic cup that had like Mount Fuji. It was wonderfully, beautifully made. And it had Mount Fuji on it. It was on a tour. It was something to do with Mount Fuji. But yeah, I gave it away for a souvenir, and I'm regretting it to this day because originally I bought it for myself, and when you're giving it the souvenirs when you get back, like it felt like it didn't give this person enough, so
yes,
I was like, have this is for you. And now I look back, I'm like, damn, that was a lovely, like, beautiful mug. So
you have to buy like try to find something similar. Like I had to do an apology gift while I was there on my last trip, unfortunately, because I sometimes you travel, you travel with others, and you don't always know how that's going to go. But like, it's kind of like that similar thing of like having to give some things that I had planned from the Thousand Torii Gate place. I bought some sake that was there that I was going to bring home from like 2 different stops, and they were all local sake places. And I'm like, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to take this home. I'll be back home. There'll be a night in Chicago when it's cold. I can have a hot sake, or summer when we're back, I could have this nice cold sake that's just this, small brewery in the area. And all of that I gave away, and I was like, man, I should have bought more, like just twice as much as what I've thought. So
definitely. I think that's when we were leaving, we were at the airport, I was like, I wish I bought more.
Yes.
Like because at the time, that's a really good thing. If you see something, just buy it for yourself. Don't go too crazy, I guess. But if it's something you like, buy it. That's don't hold out, because if you ever think to yourself, oh, I'll buy it later, or
you're not,
you never really get a chance.
Like one thing I want to look for next time I go is like, I like having something that I could be with me, because like if you're down, like you're not feeling good or whatever, like I'm an art teacher, so I get to like wear stuff that you normally don't get to wear if you're teaching. So like I want to buy more t-shirts and hoodies when I go there, so I can just keep them in my closet. And it's not something I'm going to wear on a regular basis, but if I want like a pick-me-up on a day, like I could just put like something on from there and just like feel like I got a little bit of a connection, or like, you're wondering like, you're like, this is what I'm doing this for. Like, look down, it's here, Man, it's just it's gonna be great, man. When we both get back, I can't wait to hear about like your stuff that's here. And like one other area for like Takayama that I found was like this place called Teppanyaki, and it
Yep.
was like you'd have to take a cab to get there, which seems like to be a theme for that area, but it's really off the beaten path. It's a 10-minute
Hmm.
ride, but David, like this is something I think I would do like on that, like, not necessarily like pay attention to price, like if you can, it like the cheapest was around $100, up to
Hmm.
$230 per person, so it's like around 10,000 yen to 20,000 yens or 23,000 yen for a course. But
Hmm.
it was like at this restaurant that is private dining, like they literally only do one group for lunch and one group for
Okay.
dinner, so it's like a
Wow.
private dining experience, and you get like A5, which is like the top grade of beef that you can get there. And like
Hmm.
you're going to have like a whole course, all these different things that are there. And they said like from some of the reviews, you'd have to book it like as far out as you can. And when I was looking at it, when I was researching and like on April 3rd, it would let me go to
Hmm.
the end of May, so like another month out, but you could
Okay.
actually reserve like, so for like my June trip, I think like May 1st, like midnight, Japan, I'd be on there like looking to see if I could book it, because it's like for $150, like it's a lot of money, don't get me wrong, but for $150 to have an appetizer, a seafood dish, a seasonal vegetable dish, garlic rice, and 100 grams of A5 steak with grilled vegetables, miso soup,
Mhm.
dessert, and have that be a private dining thing, like that's like, how cool is that?
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, I can think about maybe a couple places in my city that I'll be paying just that, and it would not be as good as that.
No, and
So,
they have their own garden.
and you in
Yeah,
Japan.
and they have their own private garden. They
Yep.
had a bunch of local wines, whiskeys, shochu, beer, tea, sake, soda, and all that stuff. But it was all like, of course, like the alcohol things would be extra. But the one cool thing is if you're
Hmm.
traveling with kids, they don't have a children menu, but like
Okay.
they actually are okay with you bringing your own food for your kids. So
Okay.
like you don't have to
That's
spend $150 on your kid. You know what I mean? Like you
yeah.
could you could like literally grab something on the way there and be like, hey, you guys get to eat this when we're here. But that might stop like a normal family where if it's you, your significant other, and like your child, like spending
Mhm.
$450 on the three of you when they're not going to get the most out of it, but to spend 300 on the two of you and them be
Mhm.
happy with their meal, like not every place is gonna, especially when it's as expensive as that, just be like, yeah, no worries. You like,
Yep.
you have like your things for your kids and stuff. It's just cool.
No, that sounds like a value for your money,
I like it.
so to speak. So.
I like it, man. It's and then like I don't know. I could keep on kind of like going through, like those are kind of like some of those ones that we found that's there. And I know like Tom and I were gonna go into like a couple other places we were kind of researching for
Mhm.
stuff that's there, like lodging and things, because we have some ideas. Like one of the things, like you can get a sneak peek since you're here now, and like everyone that's listening can, but like
Mhm.
we're actually gonna do not like this next episode where we're kind of like go a little more into like Takayama and like some other things we found. But what we want to do after that is actually record a uh, like for our TKIC studio, like have
Yep.
that after, like in Japan, like after you get off of work, you can go have that
Mhm.
drinking party together, and then like like tell your boss off, but potentially, and like say whatever you want to say, and you come in the following day and nothing's here, so like your little nomikai. So we're
Mhm.
gonna start doing like a every once in a while like a TKIC studio nomikai, and like just have like we're gonna, both him and I, we play Dungeons and Dragons, so another cool thing that
Nice. Yep.
we do. But we're gonna do like a D20 roll and have like a list of things we can talk about, and whatever we
Yep.
roll and whatever we come up with, we're gonna do that, and then like share some like Japanese whiskey that he finds that like he wants to
Yep.
research and bring through, and I'm like, we're not experts like on any of that, but like
No.
one more excuse to have like some fun with a friend is never a bad
Oh,
thing. And
100%.
like like, even having you on and like getting to talk about like the city in Japan, and like I can tell like you love it. It's like
Oh,
it's a part of
it's
you,
amazing.
like, and do you think, like, I know you have this next trip planned for you to go. What is like, do you think that Japan's going to be something that you'd go to like again later on, or like what do you think like is going to be your like, is it going to be something that you'll do as another trip after that later on, or is this like, you think your second trip going to be the one like that's like you make the most of it and then you look to go elsewhere?
Well, I think what the plan, yes, like so if I could travel there each year or every year, at least for 2 weeks,
Yes.
that'll be ideal. But I think to kind of make um, kind of like the most of it is we'll integrate Japan in the trip. Like so, we'll have two places, Japan and somewhere
Okay.
else. Um, Something very similar to what I did the last trip. So, or even just do Japan itself, or really depending,
Yeah.
like, if I've plenty money left over from the Japan trip, I might go somewhere else. It's not all planned out, but I would definitely love to visit Japan each year.
You and I are, you're
Um,
in that same boat with me, man, because I would love to go like every every summer and have that, and like kind of doing the same thing. Like my sister and her wife, they met through like I think I've talked about this on the show before, but like where they met through like a chat room, and she was
mhm.
in, and she ended up going out and going to go see her. And like I'd love to do like the Philippines or like Vietnam and like add on some things, to like the same thing,
Yeah, surrounding.
like go see some other places, other cultures, but still kind of see those friends that you're like, you make when you're there, and then like explore some other places, because like we're doing uh like on this next trip when we're going out to Fukuoka. That's been like
Hmm.
since like the Lost in Translation like movie, and them just like briefly mentioning it's been a place I've wanted to go to, like with Bill Murray, Scarlett Johansson, go get like I told my son, I said, I really hope that this summer happens. And I'm still, like I said, hoping all that hope. But if it's pushed back another year,
Hmm.
I told him we're going to do the Park Hyatt Hotel, because I'll have another year to save. And I told him, I said, hey, we'll share a room, because it's like $500 or whatever it is for the night there. But like, I'll share a room with them, and then do like the New York bar, and then do the pool. And I said,
Hmm.
all I'm gonna ask, son, is that you just take a picture of me at like the New York bar, take a picture of me
Yeah,
like,
please.
like out like, walking into it, kind of like, just do as many Bill Murray things as I can as possible,
Yeah.
like for that trip.
Um, I think that's a good a fair ask from him. So
Yeah, I've had, like I said, I've had like so many times where I've tried to take a picture there and it's turned out poorly. So I don't know if
yep.
it's like this like long-term curse that's just going to stick with me, or if it's
Hmm.
actually going to be something like that I'll get done, at that time.
Well,
So
hopefully the next time you go there, you break the
I
curse.
agree. And David, we're gonna have to hook.
I like your
Yeah, that's it.
chances.
And David, if you're like there again then during the summer, man, I'd love to like be able to like meet up in person too, and just be able to like
That would
share.
be amazing. That would be fantastic. Like yeah, have a segment of our trips made up.
Yep.
Um, yeah, like I definitely say because when they do open, because one of my when I said the backup funds
Yes.
for the trip, so what I'm doing right now is I'm restoring a 1972 Super Beetle.
That's
Um, so that's once I finish that, and it's in the ending part or at the finishing stages. So once I complete it, I'm planning to sell it and use those have those funds as kind of like
yeah.
backup. Just have some more extra cash. Um, but yeah, that's once that's done too, then I can definitely give it the green light and go straight away once they open up the borders.
And I hope you get
So
more than you're expecting for it then. And you're definitely gonna have to send me some pictures of what you're working on. I'm jealous of that
yeah,
fact of like like you being able to do those things. My part-time extra work is like being a custodian at night, for schools in
Hmm.
my area. The nice
Yep.
part of my job though is that I can listen to podcasts while I clean. like
Yep.
so,
Oh, yeah. The good thing too with
you know,
my job too is I can do the same too. Listen to podcasts as I paint a car. So
there's worse things than like for me, like I don't have to interact with anybody. It's just like kind of doing what I need to do. Go home, then
Mhm.
go on. It's great, man. It's great. And David, I don't want to take up more of your morning than I already have at this point, and I appreciate you coming on just to hang out with me. But anything else that you want to share or say as far before we bring ourselves to a close here?
um, I don't know. Yeah, just blanking. What I could say. Yeah. Just yeah. I'm pretty sure we covered most of it. There's, was there for 3 weeks, and there's much to talk about. But if anyone wants to reach out to myself, my Instagram is Mr. Savella. So my last name is Svehla. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
I like it. And then for any of you listen, if you're having any issue finding him, just reach out to the show as well, and I'll get you in his direction too. Can't have enough good people that like Japan that want to go out, and have that stuff. Like, can never have too many people just sharing their hobbies and things you're looking to. And I'll put a recording time, David, into the show too of like our talk of like our like a little bit of a city time and then like our interview and stuff like that. And for like our housekeeping portion of stuff, go ahead and give a follow, like, and comment on your favorite streaming service. David said he found me in the initial parts of it from an Audible search. So thank you, Audible, for getting that us out there. And then I've recently seen, I don't know what it is, David. We started being found on Amazon in their streaming
Oh wow.
services and stuff. So
Yep.
whatever,
That's
like
fantastic.
whatever's happening, I will take as it's going through. Uh, and then, but yeah, reach out at Lost Without Japan on Instagram or lostwithoutjapan.libsyn.com. And if you'd reach out to me directly, you can do so by that snail mail method. And for the electronic age at lostwithoutjapan at gmail.com. And our just want to say for like the year to this point, we already have 717 listens, which is huge. And then
Yeah, it's
like
fantastic.
367 listens in just the last like 30 days. And like it's just I love it. And I hope like like just like having you become like a friend and like someone that I can keep
Likewise.
keep in touch with and stuff. This is like worth everything more than any like number wise, but like being able to be able to meet new people. Like I meet new people. Like I'd love to have like a meetup of just everyone listening to the show, just like, hey, summer, we're gonna meet here at this time, like all meet up and go through and do like daydream of something like that would be great. So
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the community that's based around this podcast.
I appreciate it, my friend.
You know,
It's like it's just gonna be great.
it'll be really
It's
cool.
gonna be good.
Yeah, it's only going to snowball from
Yeah,
here. Like, and it's exciting. So,
take it
and I'm thankful for you having me on. So,
for sure,
yeah,
David. Like I appreciate you coming on and like just setting aside a little bit of your time. You even got a new mic just for today, so all of it's there is appreciated. And like well, and then just like again as we end our show, like just thanks again for our sponsor, K-Pop Kimchi Podcast. Their advertisement will go at the end of today's show. And if you could give a listen to them as well, it'd be much appreciated. And it looks like we're ready to land now, David. Thank you so much for joining myself on today's trip and helping everybody through our gates and getting to where we needed to. So
it's been a pleasure.
thank you, my friends. And so, on behalf of Lost Without Japan and the entire crew, I'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip. And we look forward to seeing you on board again in 2 weeks for episode 18. To everyone out there, Oginki Day, stay well, my friends. And our Lost Without song for today for Japan is going to be brought to you by Bandmade and their song Choose Me. I was fortunate enough to have them be visiting Chicago next November, David, and I got my tickets to be able to see them perform live. So whenever you can get Japan actually come to where you're at.
Yeah, you can't complain.
Can't complain. $30 too.
That's awesome.
$30.
$30. That's a bargain.
It's like I'd have paid at least 3 times that. So
yeah, very nice.
So thank you,
That
everybody.
worked out.
Thank you, David. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Thank you for listening.
愛こそはね目に見えない幻想愛あるなら全てさらけ出して愛してると胸に刻み込んで捧げればあれもこれもそれもどれもできない足りないでも全部欲しいってわがままも聞いてひざまずいて Listen to me, hey my boy Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on 抱きしめるだけじゃ満たされない Excuse 愛してほしいなら You make me crazy、唇見つめた見せ場鏡に映る私に微笑む悪魔が Like Ghost愛こそはね目に見えない幻想愛あるなら全てさらけ出して愛してるって胸に刻み込んで捧げれば Just time 今すぐ見つけ出して This will be the last one Let's carry on, let's carry on もっと強く甘いだけじゃ物足りないの刺激をもっと遊んでたい君まだ眠るまで I want your attention 気づくのがいつも遅すぎる Oh I 許してほしいなら Don't tell me you're sorry、覚悟がないなら Say goodbye 他人の言葉は関係ない盗み取ってみて My feeling 愛こそはね目に見えない幻想愛あるなら全てさらけ出して愛してると胸に刻み込んで捧げれば Just time 今すぐ見つけ出して This will be the last one Let's carry on, let's carry on もっと深くI am lonely 強がりだって Do you know no 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 I did me anything is okay I choose you 愛こそはね目に見えない幻想愛あるなら全てさらけ出して愛してると胸に刻み込んで捧げれば Just time 今すぐ見つけ出して This will be the last one Let's carry on, let's carry on もっと深く溺れて to me 溺れてねI cannot wait forever 危険に揺られて Love and love 戸惑うならもう disappear I wanna choose me
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the K-Pop Kimchi Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Turneau, with my co-host, Fogrella, Brian Limper.
And when you need a break from planning your upcoming trip or maybe even your first trip to Japan, be sure to come check us out on the K-Pop Kimchi Podcast, your number one source for all things K-pop related.